Hi, my name is Akshat Ulal, and today I'm going to present on the topic a dynamically weighted multi-objective optimization approach to positional interactions in remote, local, augmented, or mixed reality. I'm currently a PhD student at the Robotics and Autonomous Systems Lab at Vanderbilt University. So I will be presenting today on behalf of my co-authors Cadence Watkins and Nilanjan Sarkar. Recently, especially since last year, there has been a rise in the amount of employees preferring flexible work schedules, especially working from home. Compared to the pre-COVID era, as can be seen from the slide, there has been a 52% increase in the number of workers who prefer flexible work schedules. This presents an opportunity for companies and institutions to develop frameworks of remote and local, mixed and augmented reality. While speaking of remote and local environments, in majority of the cases, these environments will be dissimilar. The reasons for these dissimilarities include differences in position of virtual objects in both remote and local environments. This is mainly caused because of localization and drift errors related to the HMD. And secondly, also the differences in physical dimensions between the avatar representation and the user itself. For example, consider this case. On the left side, we have the local environment, and on the right side, we have the remote environment. In the local environment, the robot is trying to give a handshake to the user. In the remote environment, the user's position is offset due to the following reasons mentioned before. And if we directly map the joint angles of the robot from the local to the remote environment, we see that there is an interaction error. So this is called the positional error, and our goal is to prevent this positional error. We need to redirect the interaction in such a way that the handshaking interaction is corrected. We not only want to redirect the hands of the avatar to decrease the positional error, but we also want to do it in such a way that the full body pose of the original interaction is preserved. Now, full body representation is quite important because it is shown to increase social presence of the interaction, and also majority of the communication of a person is non-verbal. Also, full body avatars have shown to be preferred over other avatar representations such as bust representations or only hand representations. An example can be seen in the images above. On the left and right, both the robot is actually pointing to the same object, hence the gesture is correct. But the way the robot is pointing shows that on the right side, the robot looks more authoritative compared to the left image. We want to preserve these kinds of nuances of the interaction. Hence, there are two basic objectives which we have. The first one is positional error objective, that is reducing the positional errors between the end effector and the goal target of the avatar. And also, secondly, preserving the body pose of the avatar as the original interaction. So these two objectives can be put in the form of a multi-objective optimization framework, which we present here. And also, we want the solution to be obtainable in real time. A multi-objective optimization approach has been for some time, and our problem statement involves efficiently redirecting the interactions between the local and remote environments. This can be understood from an example. Say suppose we have a robot with the current reference pose and with the blue color ball as the goal target. Now we can move the goal target. The goal target can be moved around to different locations, and not all locations are easy or difficult for the robot to reach. Some of them are more difficult than others, as can be seen in the image shown. So this is an easy goal target, and this can be a difficult goal target for the optimization algorithm to find a respective joint configuration. So depending on the goal target, how easy the goal target is, we need to weigh the objectives. That is, if the goal target is easy, then the primary objective does not need so much of a weightage as compared to the secondary objective. So more optimization weightage can be given to optimize the secondary objective. That is the heart of the problem we are trying to solve using our approach. Now, the current state of the art shown by Stark et al. In a 2019 paper uses a static approach. That is, they just give this much of weight to the primary objective and this much of weight to the secondary objective, and these weights are not changed at all during any interaction. So we can we propose a dynamic weight allocation method that is much more efficient than this and distributes the weights according to how difficult a pose is or how big the error of the positional interaction is. The rest of the slides go as follows. So initially we define what the primary and secondary errors are, like mathematically. After that we describe what kind of dynamic weighting function we use. Then we describe the method used to test our approach compared to the state-of-the-art static approach. And then we display the results. The primary error is basically described as the Euclidean distance between the goal target and the avatar's hands. There can be a number of primary errors. For example, there can be 2 hands and 2 goal targets, or 2 hands and a feet as a goal target. So NP represents here the number of primary error objectives. Alpha is the primary objective weight. Now for the secondary error, that is a quantifying of a body pose with respect to a reference body pose, how similar it is to that reference body pose. There are different metrics. There can be Euclidean distance based metrics. There can be joint angle based metrics. Now for our purposes, we use the Euclidean distance based metrics, that is the weighted joint coordinate distance, WJCD. The reason we use this is because, as you can see, the cost function we use here, C of x, is basically an RMS mean, and hence if both of the primary error and the secondary error is based on Euclidean distance, then we don't have to deal with the normalization problem, which is quite difficult to solve in multi-objective optimization. Moreover, when we compare the WJCD metrics against all the other related body pose metrics, we can see that the accuracy is not quite a lot different, considering the fact that the GPD plus LD metric actually considers almost 150 to 200 features, and this is we are not able to utilize this and solve it in real time. It has too much of features, and hence the trade-off is actually quite acceptable. In order to dynamically weigh between the objectives or distribute the weight between the objectives, we use the logistic function. The logistic function can be described as shown above. Here, f of x represents the weight of our primary objective in our case, and x minus x naught represents the primary objective error, and k is used to control the steepness of the curve. So we use the logistic function mainly due to its smooth and monotonic nature. That is, the changes are not sudden, hence the redirections do not look jittery and they look more naturalistic. So as you can see on the right, we have the 2 logistic functions with different k values. So this is used to control how steep the curve is, or in other words, what would be the minimum amount of error, primary objective error, after which full weightage will be given to the primary weight, that is 1 or 100%. So now from the logistic function we can describe the primary and secondary weights. So the primary weights alpha can be described as L by 1 plus e raised to the power k tall by xp average, where xp average is the primary objective average error and k tall is the user defined minimum error tolerance factor. So secondary weight is just the maximum weight L minus the primary weight, and the users can also set his or her maximum error tolerance factor, the k tall, by the following formula. Here f max is approximately equal to 1 because otherwise we would get an indeterminate solution. So the concept of the minimum error tolerance factor is that it is the minimum amount of primary objective error after which full weightage will be given to the primary objective. For example, if our x tolerance is 0.02 meters, then if the primary objective error goes above that, say suppose 0.03 meters, so at that time it will 100% of the weight will be given to the primary objective. So the simulation setup we have used in our experiment is shown in the picture here. So we have on the left side the robot, which is on the local environment, simulating the local environment, and on the right side we have the robot simulating the remote workspace or remote environment. So the goal targets for the robot on the left is shown in dark blue, and on the goal targets for the robot in the remote environment is shown in light blue. So The rationale is that we keep all the conditions same except the weighing strategies. So how we test the static approach is that, so we have almost 100 simulations. That is, at first the static weight is 10 and the secondary weight is 0. Yes. Next, in the next increment, the static weight becomes 9.9 and the secondary weight becomes 0.1. So as like that, the primary weight keeps on decreasing and the secondary weight keeps on increasing. That is for the static case. At the same time, for the dynamic case, we run the same number of trials, but every time the weights are decided by the algorithm, by the dynamic primary and secondary weights, as explained previously on the slide. So here we present the results, that is our dynamic approach versus the static approach, that is the current state of the art. So on the left side, leftmost column, you have the different animation speeds, that is idling, walking, running, and sprinting, each with 1 and 2 targets, both, that is one hand and two hands, both the targets. So we have the average static primary objective error, then average static secondary objective error. Similarly for the dynamic, we have the primary error and dynamic secondary error. Now this is basically tested on the strict condition, that is the X tolerance value is equal to 0.25 meters. That is, if the average error between the primary error goes above 0.25 meters, then 100% of the weight is given to the primary objective. So here we see that the reduction in primary error, that is, the static error is the original considered as the baseline, and from that we see the reduction, we calculate the reduction of dynamic error. So we can see almost around 70 to 80% improvement in the dynamic weighing mechanism when compared to in terms of the primary error. However, this reduction in error happens at the cost of the secondary error. We can see that the secondary error is almost increased by around 30-40% when compared to the static method. So this is mainly because it is trying to actually keep up to the tolerance specified by the user. So the net error change is given on the last column, as you can see. So the net error increase would be around 30-34% or something like that. So like the previous slide where we showed the strict case, we run the same experiments for the lenient case. Here the X tolerance value is 5 meters. So most of the trends are similar. We see an improvement in the primary error reduction in the dynamic case, but here the reduction is drastically reduced. It is around on average 20% reduction when compared to the static case. Similarly, in the secondary error, there is not much change. Both of these methods are quite similar. So on average, we can say the net error change is around 20% reduction in error when compared to the static case, of the dynamic weighting when compared to the static case. Now let's check the trends across the different error tolerances. So what we did is for different sample animations such as idling, walking, running, and sprinting, we changed the error tolerance levels. So the overlying trend we can see is that as the average, that is, as the tolerance becomes more and more lenient, we see that the average primary error increases. That is, and we see that the average secondary error starts to decrease. That is, as we make the tolerance more lenient, we see that the secondary objective is starting to be optimized more, and the primary objective starts being optimized less. So this confirms the trend that we are distributing the weights according to the specified user tolerance. So we see a similar condition across all the different types of animations, such as walking, running, and sprinting, showing the robustness of our dynamic weighting approach. And finally, if anybody has questions, feel free to ask. Thank you. This concludes the presentation.